What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou. NFCR2. Baby, baby. First time you're coming to the channel, be highly appreciated if you sub, like, and share with your family, friends, peoples, gente, folks, comrades, camaradas, associates, associos, buddies, pals, amigos, amicos, panas, and feel free to leave a comment, and I respond back to all the comments. Hopefully everybody out there had a memorable Thanksgiving, and y'all was able to spend time with loved ones, both new, and what I mean by new is the new kids coming into the world from your family, and the younger kids, 2, 3 years old, 5 years old, whatever. And of course the old folks, you know what I'm saying? Your parents, depending on how old you are, your grandparents, because who knows, tomorrow's not promised, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, I changed the time a couple of times because I was trying to eat lunch. Well, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it. I didn't eat at work, so after work, I went and got me something to eat, and I was like, oh man, I got to scarf this down within 5 minutes. So I said, let me change it. And then the drive-thrus were so long because I got one meal from one place, and then I got my drinks from another place. Everybody knows McDonald's, the drinks are only $1, so I went over there and got me 2, and I ate a winter schnitzel. So that took a little bit more time, so I ended up changing it again. So I changed it 3 times, and then I finally gave me enough time to eat and be ready to jump on here. So what do we got here? Shannon, hello. Mando Castillo, hello. Saludos, carnal. EMF in the house, huh? El Monte Flores in the house. Well, I don't know if you're from El Monte Flores or you're from Monte Hicks, Monte Hayes, but El Monte. Just put it like that. You're from El Monte, SGV in the house, baby, baby, right? Orale. So, yeah, so I'm just gonna pull off. I'm almost into town, so once I pull off, I'll find me a cool little spot and I'll kick the camera on. But I don't want to be holding the camera up. Okay, El Monte Flores. Orale. So I don't want to be holding the camera up while I'm driving. I did order me a new deal so I can because the way my car is designed, there's no place to put the suction cup, like to hold it up. So I ordered this one where it goes into your vents of your air conditioner or your heater. So we'll see how that one works. Hopefully it works good. That way I can start setting the phone right. You know what I mean? Because usually I just prop it up. I either prop it up with the little Bluetooth speaker I got, or a water bottle or something. You know what I'm saying? Straight ghetto. Tim Hennessy, IE in the house, Inland Empire. That's right. Fontana, right? I think you're from Fontana, I believe. That's San Bernardino, right? Anyways, how was your guys' Thanksgiving? Everything was cool? You guys stuffed yourselves? Oh, Ontario, okay. Black Angels. I think Ontario's the home of the Black Angels, I believe. Yeah, at one point, I don't want to say the groups, but there was a lot of influence down there in Ontario area at one point in time. Well, as a matter of fact, the Black Angels might be Chino. It might be Chino now I'm thinking of it. But anyways, the thumbnail is I don't know if you guys caught the thumbnail, and also on my community page just a little bit ago, I posted 3 different pictures of the cages that we go to when we're in the hole, Ad-Seg, or we call it the oil. In Spanish, the slang word for it is, we use the oil, right? Some people spell it O-Y-O, oil, but it's really spelled O-L-L-O. That's the proper way to spell the oil. That means the hole, right? Ad-Seg, administration segregation, right? Some people say the back. Some people say up top, right? That word usually in the Fed, And then also it's sometimes when you're telling a story or say you guys get caught up on something and you guys are on the yard, you get caught up on something, you say, oh, we're going to jail. Even though you're already in jail, you're already in prison, right? They say, oh, you're going to go to jail. And then you got the shoe is considered prison inside of a prison, basically, right? And when it comes to the shoe, it's a little bit different on some things. So I'm gonna try to talk about everything that has to do with being in the hole, everything, from the way things are ran with Chow, showers, razors, clippers with the haircuts, yard, how much time you get on the yard, also what kind of things will get you put in the hole, if you get released from the hole and then you come back, what happens there, courtesy parole, which that means courtesy parole is, we'll get to that, but that means basically when you're in the shoe, what happens is you get put on a bus like you're being transferred, and then you're taken to the closest prison as to where you're paroling to, and then your parole officer will pick you up from that prison. That's how that works, right? So I'll go over all that. I'm gonna try to get all this in, and then if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit me on the question. Like always, everybody, anytime that I do a live stream, feel free to ask any questions. You know what I mean? It's not it's never never taboo where you can't ask questions. Especially if there's something that you don't understand or something, feel free to ask them questions. You know what I'm saying? Let's go right here. I'm gonna go right. I just found a little spot right here. So yeah, most definitely do that. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second. Yeah, correct. Chino Sinners, correct. That's right. And the Black Angels of Ontario, right? Yeah. But I believe they had influences. They had influences with both deals. Chino Sinners and Black Angels, I believe, back in the 70s, up until probably the late 70s. The big boys from the north, so-called, that's because that's what they're called. That's what they're called now, I should say. EABAOVS. The hell is that? Shannon, you're tapping in from Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin. Only thing I know about Wisconsin is Milwaukee. That's it. And my sister-in-law got family from Milwaukee. A lot of family. They're Latin Kings from Milwaukee. Her pops went from Puerto Rico to Milwaukee way back when. I think he went to New York first, and then Milwaukee with all his brothers and sisters, a lot of them. And then a lot of them started having kids there, like some of their first kids, and a lot of them stood there. And then eventually, my sister-in-law's dad, 2 or 3 brothers and about 2 or 3 sisters ended up coming out to California. And then I had mentioned this, I don't remember what video it was, but my sister-in-law has, when she went back to Puerto Rico, my brother's 55. She's, I want to say she's 51, 51, no, 49, I think she is. She's 49 or 50. So when she went back to Puerto Rico when she was about maybe 12, and she still had uncles and aunts that were like toddlers in diapers still. Because her grandpappy was still getting it in as an old man. He had a picture of all his kids, like from oldest down, and it was like, they're already like in their 40s, 30s, and 40s, the kids, the oldest ones, and they're all the way down to like literally 2-3 years old. You know what I mean? Of course, he had kids with a couple different ladies, just like what I had said in the last video. My great-grandfather, my grandmother's father, had like 8 or 10 kids with one lady, and then with my great-grandmother, he had 17 that lived, and I think they had a total of like 19 or 20. A few of them died at birth, or stillborn or whatever they call that. And so he had all those kids, you know what I mean, with 2 different ladies, but he still had a bunch of kids, and he was a lot older than my great-grandmother. You have Fawn, Oshkosh. Oh yeah, Oshkosh. Yeah, Green Bay, of course. Yeah, Oshkosh. That's right. Yeah. Other than that, I couldn't tell you. Oh, I know about Wisconsin. That one spot in Wisconsin now because of that ordeal with with the kid. What was that kid's name? Kyle. Didn't that happen in Wisconsin? And then the young black dude that got shot and paralyzed by the cops. That was Wisconsin too, but I can't think of the name of the town right now. You remember the name of the town? Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that was Wisconsin. And then, like I said, the black kid, the young man that got shot when he was taking his baby mama's Kenosha. There you go, Kenosha. Yep. No doubt. So yeah, when it comes to as so yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, I got that name, but I'm talking about the kid's name, Jacob. His name was Jacob something. So getting to the topic, right? Ad-Seg. Usually things that get you an Ad-Seg will be like a riot with different with like a race riot. Say Latins and blacks, Latins and whites, even Latins with Latins, North with South. That'll get you put in a hole, right? A melee, a riot. Of course, if you get caught up with a weapon, that'll get you in the hole. If you get caught up with dope in there, that'll get you in the hole. Of course, if you use the weapon on somebody, that'll get you in the hole. If you get caught up like having a relationship with any type of relationship, even if it's just a friendly relationship, but you know they feel like it's you compromise the security of the institution. So, you know, like over familiarization they call it. They'll put you in the hole. So in other words, say it's a free staff lady. Nah, not no more. Not no more. Cell phones don't get you put in the hole no more. The one time cell phones did get you put in the hole because they got cameras, right? And so what they call it is, they call it a breach of security, right? Because you could take pictures of the schematics of the yard and so on and so forth. So yeah, before at one point you get caught with a cell phone, you would go to the hole. Now you don't go to the hole. You'll get you can get anywhere. You can get 60 days, 90 days. If you get caught with alcohol, making alcohol, you just get the write up. Even a fist fight with somebody within your own group segment, you just sign the chronos saying that that it's a dead issue from here on out. And if you guys are in the same building, what they usually do is move one guy out of that building and move him to another place. And then you sign these things. It's called a marriage chrono, and that's basically just saying that you know it's a dead issue. There would be no more problems with us, you know, that type of deal. I've never had one of those, but I know I've been told by different other guys that they've had that. And see any dope on you? Yeah, dope. Not tobacco. Dope though, yeah, for sure. Dope. Dirty drug test? Nah, I don't think that. Nah, I think you know what they usually do with dirty drug tests. You keep giving them a whole bunch of them, they end up putting you on C status. You know what I mean? I signed the marriage chrono, so you got in a fight with another white dude though, right? Because I've never heard of them doing that when it's two different races. Because usually that doesn't happen. Usually, you know, it's going to kick off. Cell phone, communicate orders to the streets. Oh yeah, that'll be something different. That'll be like more like a, you know, that'd be more like an indictment. You know, up like most likely if they get you on anything like that, it'll be like a RICO, some type of RICO things and act for the betterment of an organization, stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Well, of course, if you try to escape, I see guys. I've seen guys change like what you do sometimes is you got guys they'll rig up their door, or they'll put their laundry bag. There's a plastic piece that's really bendy. You can bend it, and the reason you can bend it is because when you tie up your laundry bag, you're supposed to put this. It's like kind of like a cross type shape, and you put it through the loop, and then you turn it, and it's like it locks it in, kind of like. Well, they'll take that off, and they'll rig up their door where that even if the cops try to come in their door, they can't. Even if after they pop it, they still can't come inside, and that'll give them extra time to do whatever they got to do, break something, eat something, You know, because usually if they're going to raid your cell, they usually turn the water off. So you're not going to be able to flush nothing. They'll turn the water off before it even come in there. So when you do that and you rig your door, basically you're giving yourself time to either break something or swallow something. You know what I mean? Because you can't, like I said, the water's off, so you can't flush it. And then anyways, they're at the door looking in. Anyways, there's a window on your door. So also, so yeah, so that would be considered a I'm not sure exactly how they write it up, but it has something to do with like a attempted escape type deal. You know what I'm saying? Also, another thing that would get you put in Ad-Seg, and this will only be temporarily if you didn't have nothing to do with it. Say your cellie ends up dying, maybe he has a heart attack or stroke or whatever, he ends up dying, or he overdosed on something, you know, and then you find him like that and unconscious, and you call man down. What they'll do is they'll throw you in the hole upon investigation, and as soon as they determine that you didn't have nothing to do with, you know, the person dying, like if they find out, you know, that the autopsy comes back, oh, it was a stroke or a heart attack or overdose, then they'll end up kicking you back out. You know what I mean? But I've seen that too. But usually most everything that's going to get you in there is going to be violence, anything violent, and anything drug related, and then serious stuff like, you know, sexual stuff. If anybody goes that route, which is, you know, like I've mentioned before, that's all looked down on. That's you know, that's not tolerated. But sometimes you get some guys that they'll do some weird stuff, like, you know, say a female CO or something, and they'll just, you know, sometimes they'll just, yeah, it's weird stuff. Anyways, I don't want to get into that stuff. I don't like talking about that stuff. But anyways, those are usually the reasons that'll get you in the hole. And usually weapons, like manufacturing of weapons and all that type of stuff, that'll get you like a 2-year shoe term, a 16-month shoe term. Also, if you're like considered a program failure where you're constantly getting, you know, write-ups all the time, they could call you a program failure, and they could just keep you in the shoe. You know what I'm saying? Chepe, what's going on, Chepe? So those are pretty much the things that'll get you sent to the Ad-Seg, which is, we call the oil, the hole. Also, and then when you get there, what they do is they'll box up all your property from your cell or from your bunk area if you're in a dorm, and then they'll box it all up, and they'll put, you know, depending on how much stuff you got, they'll put your, you know, box 1 of 1, box 2 of 1, or excuse me, box 1 of 2. If they'll say you got 4 boxes, they'll say box 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4, and then your TV will have your name on it, you know, with the sticker, and then that'll go to property, Ad-Seg property. And then what happens is when you get to the hole, you'll get your 114 lockup order. That's your CDC 114 lockup order, and that'll say on there why you went to the hole, right? And so that'll help you. That'll get you. Man, that thing's loud. He's way down there too, and that thing's still loud. That'll get you at least with your peoples partially cleared. You know, once you get to the hole, you know, because it'll show why you're there. You know what I'm saying? And you don't sign the paper. I don't give a shit if you did it. If you actually did what it says, you don't sign the paper, because that's admitting your guilt. You know, and you never admit shit. You know what I mean? So you don't sign that paper when they bring, because the first copy they'll give you is an inmate copy that'll come from either the lieutenant or the captain, or sometimes a sergeant that's acting lieutenant. They'll issue the paper, the 114, and they'll ask you to sign it. You deny it, and then what happens is when you go to UCC or ICC, which is a unit classification committee or initial classification committee, it should be UCC because that's a unit, right? So unit classification, you'll be in there. When you go in there, there'll be the gang unit will be in there. Somebody from the gang unit, usually the lieutenant or the sergeant from the gang unit. You'll have an associate warden in there. You have a captain in there, a lieutenant in there, and you'll have the Ad-Seg sergeant will be in there. A CC1 and a CC2 will be in there. Those are correctional counselor 1, correctional counselor 2, they'll be also be in there. And then who else will be in there? That's pretty much it. And or maybe a psych might be in there. And then basically they're going to go over why you're in Ad-Seg, and they'll talk about where, pretty much they'll say, you've been locked up for this amount of time, you cut your case out of this county, you cut a term of this amount of time. If you've been a problem, different incidents in the past, they'll bring up those, and then they'll issue you another copy of your 114, and they'll want you to sign it again. But keep in mind that when you get escorted there, you get escorted, and you're also cuffed, right? You're cuffed, and you got a jumpsuit on, like a milkman jumpsuit. And when you sit down, they have you sit down in a chair that's backwards. You know what I'm saying? So you sit backwards, and then it's a pretty fast process. I mean, especially if you just keep your mouth shut and you go in and out of there, you just listen what they got to say, and you really don't put no input, because that's really how you're supposed to do it. But anytime anybody sits in there and they're trying to talk, that's usually because they're usually trying to work it somehow to get something, you know what I'm saying? Which is pretty much a no-no. It ain't no good to do all that. And then, it's like I said, it's a pretty fast process. I mean, literally within 10 minutes, you're in and out of there. And I want to say it's even faster than that, probably more like 5 or 6 minutes. You know what I mean? Then you get escorted back to your cell, or if they're running a lot of different committees, they'll put you in the, another thing I put 3 pictures on the community tab, on my community tab, of the cages to Ad-Seg, dog kennels. I put one picture of those cages, which some people call them phone booths, some people call them bird cages, some people call them a Tweety bird cage, right? You really just got room in there for you to stand up. That's pretty much it. And if sometimes they have a little stool that swings to the side, where you can sit on it. I put a picture of that, and then I also put a picture of a cell, a bare cell, that cell, they have a TV. So I'll explain all that too, how you get all that. Joey Melrose, Sean Wellen, Ireland tapping in. Big Lou, what's up, mate? How are you keeping? Long time. Yeah, that's a trip. I was just thinking about, you came to my mind. It was either last night or earlier this morning. Good to see you here. Joey Melrose, long time no see as well. Good to see you here. See, dog, always with God bless everybody in the chat. That's right. Mondo, long time. Hope you're good. Nice to see you. Yeah. So, okay. So property-wise, when you come from reception, you're in the hole, right? You're in Ad-Seg. You go to wherever you transfer to, you're gonna go to the hole again. I mean, when you get there, you're gonna go to the hole. Now if you got an indeterminate shoe, then if you got an indeterminate shoe, which at that time they don't have those no more, but at that time that meant that you'll never come out of the SHU program, and SHU stands for Security Housing Unit. You'll never come out of the SHU unless either you died, you debriefed, that means giving up information, or you paroled. There was only 3 ways to get out of there. And also there was only 3 prisons that if you had an indeterminate SHU, right? That's Pelican Bay, Corcoran, and Tehachapi. 3 places. Now, if you have a SHU term, like say a 2-year SHU term, you can do that pretty much in any prison. Anything 2 years and under, you can do it any prison. Anything over that, usually they send you to the 3 places I just said, right? Richard Dowling, we got 2 Irish cats in the house. That's what's up. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Yeah, so again, Tehachapi, Corcoran SHU, and Pelican Bay SHU. Those are the 3 SHUs. But now they don't have those no more because indeterminate. Again, indeterminate meaning you will stay in that SHU until either you died, you debrief, which is give up information, or parole. Okay, but recently, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. It might have been a little further back than that. They actually won the lawsuit in the Supreme Court of California, but they didn't end up acting on it until about 4 years ago, I want to say. And that's what happened, was they ended up kicking out everybody out of the SHU, and everybody that had been in the SHU, say for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, or even more than that, they all got placed back on the main lines, and they were able to be out there with everybody else. You know what I mean? So they won that deal there. Dirty 30, 530. What's going on? So, hold on. Let me get this straight. So the shoe. Okay, so when you come from the reception center, and you have an indeterminate shoe, you're gonna go to one of those three places, right? Tehachapi, Pelican Bay, or Corcoran. Once you get there, you go to Ad-Seg first, and then you eventually make it to the actual shoe, right? Once you're in the shoe for a year, once you have a year in the hole or the shoe, you're allowed to get packages, right? Okay, now packages you get what they allow you to get, you know what I'm saying? Because in the shoe and in the holes, you can only get certain things. You can't get stuff that you can get on regular main lines, and I believe clothes-wise, you can only get like beanies, thermal bottoms, thermal tops. I'm trying to remember. I know at one point I remember you could get shorts, but I'm not sure if they let you still get shorts in the shoe, or sweats. And I remember they changed some things, so I'm not sure if they still allow that. The regular hole, they only allow you to get thermals and all that. I mean, you can have stuff on your property, but while you're in there, they're not going to give it to you. And like I said, you got to be in there a year, and before you can get your stuff like that. And then the regular holes, some places you can have TVs, some places you can't. So the reason I'm saying that, because now they started building these things called ASUs. What they stand for? ASU. Administrative Segregation Unit. And they're new type buildings where they're kind of made like they're concrete bunks. Everything's concrete in there except for your toilet, and your sink is a stainless steel. And the bunks are sideways. So when you look in, the bunks are parallel. You know what I'm saying? They're not the other way. And everything's concrete. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have plugs. They do not have no plugs. So you're not going to have a TV in those places. You know what I'm saying? But the older type holes, ones that have the plugs, they can kick your TVs. Now I heard when I was locked up the last time, which keep in mind I've been out 5 years. July made 5 years, so I've been out a little more than 5 years now. They were giving radios, crank radios to guys in there. Big Watll Duran, what's up, homie? And they were giving radios because it came back that people were losing their minds, they were losing their sanity, being stuck in a cell by themselves, pretty much no contact, no type of no socializing, and so they were giving people radios. And I kind of heard something about the TV deal too changing, but I'm not sure about that. But I did meet guys that came out of the hole different times. They were in the hole, and they were talking about the radios, that they did get radios, and they're the kind you crank, so you don't have to buy batteries. You just wind them. You know what I'm saying? I have a question. Left field. Woman with bad charges go mainline. From what I hear, men with bad charges go PC. Man, yeah. But I heard, like that lady, that mother to that kid, Gabriel Fernandez, that kid, that they did the Netflix series on. I heard that his mother got it. They were beating her ass every chance they got. You know what I'm saying? I think when it comes to baby killers, the women get that ass too. But it ain't like with weapons. I don't think it's so much with weapons. They might slice them with razor blades maybe, but it's not like trying to take their wind, like trying to poke them like men do. You know what I mean? But it's a lot different when it comes to women joints. It's more like everybody from because I had a couple cousins that done time, and they're like relationship type deals, and sometimes they have like little families. It's way different than men. There ain't no gang banging in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could be a gang member, a female from down south or up north, but once you get there, like they're not tripping on that stuff. It's a lot different. But yeah, that's definitely a difference there when it comes to that. Give me 1 second.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, it's different. No, that's what I meant. Killing kids. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know about because like sometimes you hear about a teacher, and in like a high school teacher, like that lady, she kept having a relationship with the kid. Now he's a grown dude. He's like 35 or 40 years old now, but she went to prison, I think, twice for having relationships with him, and then they had kids. I'm not sure how that would work. Like with a late, like a teacher and the kid's like a teenager, a high teen, like maybe 16, 17. I don't know. I don't think they would look at that the same. But like somebody that's, abusing kids, definitely killing kids. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's a difference. My carnalas did time in Chino women's prison, and they said they don't politic. No, yeah, they don't. Yeah, because I got a prima. I got my aunt. I got an aunt, and I got a prima. Well, she passed away now, but they did time. They were doing time in the '80s, and no, and they both had old ladies in there and all that bullshit. People lost their minds during COVID at home, and yeah, tell me about it. At home, and most had spouses and were able to have relations with their spouse. Can't imagine being in the shoe for extended time. Yeah, people are losing their minds having to stay at home. And can you imagine living in a freaking closet with another dude? You know what I'm saying? And have to just because in prison too, they were locking it. They had people locked down too with the COVID. It wasn't a normal program where people were walking around. You were slammed. They were bringing the phone to you. From my understanding, because I got a cousin that's in there and a couple cats that I keep in contact with, and they were telling me in the letters how everything was fucked up. So, yeah, like you said, you got people losing their minds on the street, still at being at home, but yet inside there, you're literally stuck in a cell, with the sink, the guy's shitting, not even, 2.5 feet from your head, 3 feet from your head. You know what I'm saying? That's a trip. That's definitely dealt with differently. Okay, so the way they do it is, okay, you can't go to yard when you go to the hole, you can't go to yard until you get cleared from committee, right? Once you go to committee and they clear you, okay, well, let me tell you this first. So the thumbnail to those cages, that is DVI, that is dual vocational institution. That is Tracy, also known as Tracy, also known as Gladiator School. That used to be a youth authority back in the day when it opened. From the time it opened up until around, I want to say either late 60s, and what I mean by late 60s, 68, 69, if I'm not correct around that, it was definitely in the 70s. It changed over to a men's prison. Okay, it's closed now. That was the first prison that Governor Newsom closed, and now they're closing Susanville. I heard Susanville is in the works right now being closed. They already had closed down the fire camp at Susanville. And from my understanding, they're sending the level 3s to High Desert, which is right across from it. They're right next to each other, 2 prisons. And then they're sending guys at points dropped because they're sending them back to committee early because of the prison closing, and they're going ahead and dropping their points down to level 2. And I heard they're sending them to Solano and San Quentin. That's what I heard. Solano has level 2 and level 3. San Quentin is level 2. So like I said, that picture is DVI. Now, the reason I brought that up is because DVI has wings. They have East Hall and West Hall, which those are halls, and then everything else is a wing. So you got C wing, D wing, E wing, H wing, F wing, G wing, right? K wing, J wing, L wing, and those are wings, and they're designed differently. The reason I'm bringing that up is because Vacaville has only wings: O wing, W wing, V wing, and it's made just like Tracy. The buildings look exact outside. Chino has halls: Palmer Hall, Birch Hall, Cedar Hall, and those are made like East and West Hall in Tracy. And then you got Soledad, and Soledad has both. Because Soledad, out of the old prison, Soledad has 4 yards. They got North facility, which is A yard and B yard, and those are all halls. Whitney Hall, Shasta Hall, Rainier Hall, made the same way Tracy halls are and Chino's halls. And then it has Soledad Central, which is a real big ass yard, and they have wings: O wing, W wing, all that, S wing, And again, it's made like Tracy's Wings, right? And then they have Soledad South, which is dorms. Okay, those places that I just named right there, those 4 joints, they're older joints. They're all from the most of them are made in the 50s, and those Ad-Seg, those holes are single cells. You're in there by yourself, right? Most of the places now are made for 2 guys. They have 2 bunks. That's why I'm bringing that up. So when you go to yard, if you don't have a cellie, you go into those cages by yourself. If you're in an institution where, because at one time Tracy was using L1, L-Wing 1, and L-Wing 2, which is the second floor of L-Wing, and J-Wing 3rd tier as Ad-Seg overflow, where you would have a cellie. But those were overflows. Those weren't initially Ad-Seg housing, right? So you would have 2 guys in those cells, and then you would go into the cage together, 2 of you guys. So that's why I'm bringing that up, just so people know the difference, right? Egg, Texas Royal Flowers. Who's this guy here? Agnostic 1. What up, Agnostic? So yeah, so that's why I'm bringing that up. Okay, so you go into those, and then by by law through the DOM. The DOM is the what's the D stand for? Basically, it's the operational manual, right? Operation. I forgot what the D stands for, but it's Department Operational Manual. And you're supposed to get, when you're in the hole or Ad-Seg or the shoe, you're supposed to get 10 hours a week, right? However they want to do it. So if they want to throw you out there, 3.5 hours, 2 days, and then 3 hours, or no, what would that be? Yeah, 3.5 hours, 2 days, and 3 hours another day, whatever it is. But you're supposed to get 10 hours out there, right, per week. And you see one of the on the community tab, there's a bunch of cages, right? And that's only one area. They have in between K-Wing and J-Wing, and then in between in between J-Wing and K-Wing, and in between L-Wing and K-Wing. So 2 sides of K-Wing, they got a bunch of cages like that. Because remember I said they were using a couple of different areas as overflow for the hole. And so you go in there. So this is how it works. You start hearing the chains, right? You hear the COs grabbing all the freaking chains, right? A whole bunch. And they're just the handcuffs, right? But you hear them grabbing, because they're grabbing, like, sometimes they'll have the milk crate full of them, or sometimes they'll just grab handfuls of them, 10 of them at a time, and they'll go all the way down to the end, which they call the dungeon, and that's on the 1st floor of the K-Wing, which is the original hole, and they'll start asking guys, you go in the yard, you go in the yard. Of course, I got to go to yard. We have to go to yard. They know it's mandatory. You have to go. And what I mean by the group segment I'm with, I have to go to yard. There ain't no denying it. There's no denying showers either. Even if you already bird bathing yourself, you still got to go down to that shower, right? Any type of chow movements, what I mean by that is when it's chow time to go walk to the chow hall, you got to go. You can't say, oh, I ate already. Unless there's something very important that has to do with the household business, then you can stay back, but you can't stay back by yourself, right? Okay. So they start going to sales, and keep in mind, there's some guys that'll be there that ain't no good. They're not in good standings with the people. Some might be weirdos. Some might be rats. Some might be, whatever. And so they'll ask them guys too, if you're going to yard, some of them's going to probably say no, right? So when they get to me or any of my homeboys or matter of fact, any of the Latinos and the whites, yes, there ain't no denying it. Blacks, they will go too, as long as they're in blacks in the hole, they go to yard. They don't stay back. But I'll bring up something that happened later on at one point, that the alliance between the northern Latinos and the blacks, where it drifted. It was basically a wedge got hammered in between there, right? I'll bring that up later on. And if I forget, somebody remind me. JMSJ, what's up, player? Agnostics, I always get the blame for what, bro? Agnostic 1, don't be keeping Angel up late. Oh, okay, I got you. Joey Melrose. So you go in the yard, yes. So what they do is this is K-Wing, so there's no way, there's no tray slots, right? I mean, there is a tray slot, but there's no way that you can get down in there the way it was designed. So what they started doing, the last time I was there, they started putting new doors. They started putting new doors in, right? Where they had a tray slot, and at this time, it still was bars, right? And so what they would do is they would have to crack your door, and you'd have to turn around. They crack your door, then you back up to them, and they cuff you up, right? Okay, and then what they do, they escort you upstairs, and it was like weird because they were like little old stairs, you know what I mean? Like, you know, literally. And what they would do, they would just send you up because it's too much of a. It could be too much of a not a distraction, but too much of a security issue if a CO is walking up with you because it's too steep and you know you could push them, whatever, you know. So what they would do, they would run you up, just let you go up, and there's another CO standing up there waiting for you to come up. You know what I'm saying? And then what they do is they put you in them fucking little dummy cages, right? And they might put, let me see if I can remember, on the second tier K-Wing, I want to say there was like maybe 5 cages, and then the third tier, same thing. And what they do is you go in there and you strip out. You start handing them each pair of clothing, each article of clothing, and you strip out butt naked. And they want to see underneath your feet, wiggle your toes. They want to see your hands like this, open your mouth. You know, they'll go like this behind your ears. You go like that in your hair. Obviously squat and cough, right? 3 times. And then they give you your clothes back. You put them on. And then you have to turn back around. You get cuffed up again. And then they'll tell you, then they'll send you to the yard. And again, there'll be a cop down there as soon as you come off the stairs. And there'll be another one that's on the runway, the runway to go outside. And then there'll be another one outside. So basically they're covering their, you know, they're watching everything. But again, you're cuffed, right? So then when you get out there, you go into the cage, whatever cage you're going into. And the thing with that is that you're never always going to be with the same guys. Sometimes they run this side with that side and this tier with that tier. So all kinds of different times you could be with different homies out there, different people, period. You know, I could be, today I might be in between 2 black guys. Next time I go to yard, I might be between a Paisa and a Mexican national and a Southern Latino, or a white and a skinhead. You know, well, they're still white, but it just depends, right? It just varies. And so what you got to do is you might be getting little kites back, you know, sent to you, or you might be having things that got to go to somebody else. And so what you got to do is you got to take apart your boxers, and you got to make yourself a little line real quick. And a lot of times what they do is they wet them. They wet it and they throw it to cross lines for weight, right? Because keep in mind, when you go into the cage, you got a toilet and you got a sink, right? And that's it. You know, it's a chain link, like a dog run. That's exactly what it is. And so guys will take their towels out there. I used to take my towel out there. Guys will put the towel on the floor, do push-ups off the floor. A lot of times we use the towels to do curls, right, off the fence. I would do back arms off the toilet or off the sink. You go off the toilet, it's lower, so you're getting more. You're working your back arm even more the lower you go, right? So you get your work on out there while you're out there. But then, like I said, you might be passing gang intelligence between you and your peoples out there, right? And you can never turn nothing down. So if you got something that's going that somebody needs to give to you to get to somebody else, you can't ever say, "Oh no, I'm good with that. I don't want to do that." No, there ain't none of that. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? And also, while you're out there in the yard, this is the time you get your haircut, right? They'll pass the clippers around, and it's really nasty, to be honest with you, because you got one guy cutting his hair after another guy. Whoever says they want the clippers next, they tell the CO. The CO gets the extension cord, runs it to their cell. I mean, not their cell, but their cage, and then, you know, cut your hair. Now, me, one time I had cut my hair with a 0. I cut it bald, and we got a bunch of new guys. This is another time, though. But I'm going to tell you what led up to this. I'm at another prison, and I shaved my head, and like I had mentioned before, cats from Latinos from Northern California, and blacks and Asian Islanders, they share the day room, right? The other side of the day room is Southern Latinos, whites, and Mexican nationals, Paisas, and Native Americans. They're on the other side of the day room. So everything, you know, you got your own segregated showers, telephones, day room, that's including TVs, right? So one day I shaved my head with a 0, so I had it all the way bald, except it was as short as it can go besides being with the razor. And we got a whole bunch of new guys that had came maybe 2 weeks before that. So these guys had just came off orientation, because what happens is when you get to a joint, you go, when you're in cell living, you go in your cell and they put a thing on your door saying orientation with your last name and your CDC number, right? And you get cell fed and all that. You can't come out yet until you see committee. That's what orientation means. Okay, so these dudes, these black dudes barely came off orientation. They came from a pen down south where there's no Northern Latinos at. So these dudes see me and I'm in the day room and I'm noticing these fools are looking at me crazy, man. It was two of them. They're looking at me crazy. There was this OG named Redbone out of Compton, California, Redbone. Shouts out to Redbone, man, if you're still alive, if you ever got out, I don't know. But he was a good dude, man. Anyways, he looks at these brothers and he says, "Oh, whoa. He's not a Southern Latino. He's not a Southerner." You know what I'm saying? And right away they changed. So I said, "You know what? I'm never shaving my head like that again." I never did. So the times I used to cut my hair in the hole, I would do at least a 1. No shorter than a 1. And this is a 1.5 with about 5 days growth, right? So I would do it with just a 1, no shorter than that. Sticks, what up, Sticks, man? Sticks, did you see that little short I did when I showed my new set of I had got like 6-7 new hats in the mail, and they were all mostly A's hats except for I had one Raider hat, one Warrior hat, and I tagged you, Lance, and Jay Williams in the thing. I don't know if you guys seen them. How long did you do? How long did I do what? This time, that time, I was on what you call the life. I was doing life on installment plans, right? You know, I would go do 2 years, come out 3 years, come out 5 years, come out. You know what I'm saying? But I got a total of like 12 years in there altogether. And then I did 5. I got 5 prison terms, which back east they call them bids, 5 bids, and then I got like 3 violations, prison violations, and then I got a year county, 8 months county, 6 months county that I've done, plus all the little stuff, you know, 2 weeks here, a week there, 5 days there. I never counted those because just too many to add. Yeah, 12 years altogether. I haven't seen them yet. Just getting off work. Yeah, I posted it about 10 days ago, and then I posted one of this little pit that I ran into, and she was tight, man. She had like 2-tone brown. She wasn't the tricolor, but she was like the bicolor. So basically it's tricolor, but minus the gray look. And she was brown, and around her eyes and around her muzzle, she had the 2-tone brown. And the dude let me take a short of her, and before I took the picture, put her on camera, he said that they adopted her like a week and a half ago, and it was her first day that she was available, and she was 10 months old, and she was like hella calm, just like perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times pit bulls ain't like that. You got to break them out of that. They're hardly ever calm like that. You know. So anyways, I got like 900 views on it. I mean, like that within an hour, and I think I got like 1,300 views on it now. But so yeah, so you cut your hair, so it goes from one person to the next person to the next person, and you cut your hair. I mean, now I never seen nobody that looked nasty and dirty, but you never know. You know, you just never know. You know, and then later on, I stopped using clippers. Period. I would just let my hair grow, and then whenever I was able to get access to either my own clippers or I'd get back to a main line, you know, I'd get out of reception, then I would cut my hair. You know what I'm saying? I would just let it grow. So it'd be wild sometimes, 2-3 months, no haircut, you know what I mean? And then I get to where I'm going and then, whoop, you know, fade it up. 2 on top, 0 on the sides, you know what I mean? So that's how they run yard, you know, and then when they pick you up, when it's time to go back in, you got to strip out butt naked again, right? And then you go back in your cell, and then usually by then it's lunchtime. Like they used to come get us early. They come get us like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, and then we come back in about 3 hours, and then it'd be lunchtime. And then I had it locked in with this Jewish guy. He used to get the kosher meals, and I used to get pretty much all his food. He had like a colostomy bag. He was very frail. He didn't hardly eat. He used to get hard-boiled eggs in the morning, And then lunchtime he would get either Smucker's peanut butter and jelly, Smucker's, or he would get like Oscar Mayer lunch meat. You know, they got that the round plastic you know, the wrapper it comes in, the container it comes in, the circle, you know, just like when you go get lunch meat, you know, it's the round ham or whatever. He used to get like 5 pieces, and he would give me that, and I would get all that for shots of coffee. So when I would come back, I'd make me a triple stack, 3 pieces of bread with hard. I would crack the eggs, and I would make me a ham with egg sandwich, and then I'd have chips. You know what I'm saying? I'd put some chips in there, smash it down, or I would keep the eggs and I would whip up some mayonnaise with it, and I would make what do they call it? Double egg sandwich. Good way to spread Hep and HIV. What is good way to spread Hep and HIV? What? How? What did I say? I don't know. Somebody say something. What did I say to spread? Oh, you're talking about the Clippers. The Clippers, huh? Yeah, it's nasty. Once, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's because later on I seen guys that would be like, you know, they'd have like a lot of really bad dry, you know, like on their scalp and stuff like that. And I came to a point like halfway through all those years I did, maybe I don't know, maybe 4 years into it, where I said I'm not using the clippers like that no more. You know, and I would just let like I said, I'm in a reception center. I just let my hair grow until I got to a main line where I bought my own clippers, or I got there, and because there's always, every time I went to another prison, I always knew somebody, or somebody that knew somebody of my family, because I got a real big family, and you know what I mean. There's a lot of the neighborhoods that they're from are pretty much major neighborhoods where a lot of guys come out of that neighborhood in the system. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's how I do it, because you know, I didn't like that no more after I started seeing certain things. And so yeah, they come get you, take you back to your cell, and that's when I make my little lunch, and I would either do one or two things, or I would keep. And that's the thing too, you don't get bowls in there. You don't get bowls in there. They give you like in the mornings they'll give you this cup, a thicker cup than normal. And you just keep it, you know what I mean? And you, in the mornings they go by with coffee, and what I would do is I would throw a spoon of my own, or the Folgers coffee, because that's kitchen coffee. It tastes pretty good, but it has no kick to it at all. It's kind of like what's that called, decaf? So you know, you throw that in there, and then they don't let you have coffee creamer in the hole, because coffee creamer, you can use it to mold yourself a weapon. If you put a little bit of water to it, it's like you can make clay out of it. And it's only good to like a one hitter, like basically one shot at stabbing somebody. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? But just because of that, you don't use it. You know, they won't let you get it. So I had a bunch of creamer on my property. They wouldn't give it to me. But then there was a homeboy of mine from Stockton, who went to school with the property officer. And so anytime we needed anything from our property, we would get at him. His name was Sharky, and he would get at that property officer, and then he would bring us whatever we wanted from our property. So at one point, I wanted my cappuccinos off my property. I told the homie Sharky, he got at the property officer. His name was Vang, and boom, I got my shit. And the only reason I'm saying his name, Vang, is because it's closed. The prison is closed down now. And sure enough, the reason I'm saying that, because one time I had just left from prison, and I just got my package, and I didn't even get to open my package. When I got to R&R, remember guys, R&R stands for receiving and releasing. I had to tell them, hey, I'm transpacking. You guys know that I'm transferring. I have a package. It's here. It's already been confirmed from my peoples. It's here. It's been signed for. They tracked it. So they had to go into the back, and they brought it out. Sure enough, it was a box, 450. Oh no, what is it? 450 ounces. So that's 30 pounds. So I had a bunch of cappuccinos in there, which I didn't get to touch or nothing. So when I get to the Ad-Seg at this other joint, I told the homeboy, hey, you know, get that for me. And he got my thermals for me, and he got my beanie and my slippers. So when I was in my cell at like nighttime, because we didn't have shoes in there anyways. So we would have slip-on shoes, right? Those deck type shoes. He got all that stuff for me, right? And then different books that I had on my property that I wanted. Because you don't have no TV in there, so you're reading, you're doing things for the homies, you're reading, constantly reading. You know what I'm saying? So the way they do showers, they have a shower on both sides, east side, west side. They take you down there, they put you inside there. If you want to shave, you tell them yes. They'll ask you if you want to shave. Yeah. They give you the razor. Keep in mind, only one shower had a mirror, and it wasn't even a good mirror, so it wasn't even like you could really shave. So I learned how to shave without seeing, by just feeling. And I used to shave real quick, and literally they come back to get you within 5 minutes or so. Literally 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So you weren't even able to take a really good shower. So so I would really shave real fast. And like I said, I'll feel, hit in between. You know what I mean? Because I had the hair here. Get the mustache, around the mustache, boom. Go back to my cell, take my clothes off and wash them in the sink. And then we'd have lines. I'd have lines hanging up in there. And then what they would do, they would pick one guy from each side to clean the shower, and then he would get extra lunches and stuff like that. Or extra trays or whatever, I don't know. So that was the shower, that was the razor, that was the haircut deal, that was the yard. Visits, you go to visits. What they do is they come get you. They tell you got a visit. They might tell you, we'll be coming to get you back in, an hour or two or whatever. Or it might be less than that, 20 minutes. Be ready. So you get ready. You put your, they'll give you that jumpsuit to put on. Or I've been in Tracy before where they'll give you actual oranges to wear, the orange pants and the orange pullover top. And then what you do, you cuff up, right? They come get you, you back up, you cuff up, and then they escort you down to the. Well, actually, they'll put you in this little holding thing first and strip you butt naked, and then you get dressed, and then you cuff up again, and then they walk you down to the visiting. So you see people from the regular visiting that are on the main line in blues. You see them through the window because you're on the phone through the glass, and it's only hour visits for you, but the other people visit all day long. And then after that's over, they bring you back, strip out again, take you back to your cell, right? That's how that works. And then if you parole from the hole, from Ad-Seg, you parole. If you ever come back, you go right back to the hole, right? And then either they'll let you out from there. After you go to the hole and go to committee, they might say, okay, you got credit for time served for your shoot term. Or if you're indeterminate, then you ain't never gonna get out until you either debrief, you parole again, or you die. And then what happens is if you get sent to another pen, you stay in the hole, you go to that hole, and then they determine what they want to do with you. They want to kick you out back to the main line, or if they want you to finish up a few more months, whatever it is. And then I brought up courtesy parole earlier, and that's when you got an indeterminate shoe, right? The shoe stands for the security housing unit. You have an indeterminate shoe, and what happens is if you're in Pelican Bay, Corcoran, or Tehachapi, and say you're from LA, they'll probably take you either to Lancaster prison or Chino. And then from there, your parole officer comes and picks you up. And then he takes you to the parole offices and does everything he has to do with you. Take your picture, do your fingerprints, tell you your special conditions. If you're from, say, Sacramento, and you're in Pelican Bay, Corcoran, or Tehachapi, they'll take you to Folsom, either Old Folsom or New Folsom, and then you'll get out of there. If you're from Stockton, they'll take you to Tracy, Stockton or Modesto or Merced. They'll take you to Tracy, DVI, which is the picture there, and then your parole officer will come get you. If you're from Oakland or San Francisco, they'll take you to San Quentin, and then they'll pick you up from there. If you're from Salinas area or San Jose, they'll take you to Salinas Valley, and then they'll pick you up from there. Same thing, take you to the parole office, tell you everything they got to tell you, take your picture, do your fingerprints and all that stuff. That's called a courtesy parole, right? Trying to think what else am I missing when it comes to the whole. Oh, the way you're fed, the mornings you'll hear them first. They'll come around with the coffee. They'll say cups out, right? And if you want coffee, then you put your cup out and pour the coffee. And then the way it works is the trays come and they usually serve you. You know, you can smell the food ahead of time because the pots come and then they serve you. The cops serve you. But the last time I was in Tracy K-Wing, it was literally, I mean, a tiny, tiny ass tray. I mean, it was like, wow. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. They were giving us such small portion. And then what happens is they serve you, you eat. You know, you got a tray slot, so they put the tray on the tray slot. You grab it, you eat, and then when you're done, you put it back on the tray slot with whatever garbage you might have, and then the cops will come by and collect it. And then they also give you your lunch in the morning. Matter of fact, I'm trying to remember because they've done it different ways where they'll put your coffee, you know, say cups out, they fill the coffee up, and then they come by and they might put your milk in. If it's a juice and milk day, they'll put the milk and the juice on your tray slot, you grab it, then your lunch bag will come, you grab it, and then the breakfast will come. Or they'll do the breakfast, and when they're picking up the trays, they'll put your lunches through there. It just depends. Yankees, what's up, man? Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. So it just depends like that. And then like if you're like in another place, the ASU where you have a celly, say you got to come out for medical, right? Your celly has to come out for medical, or you have to come out for medical. The way they do it is you back up. One backs up to the tray slot. He gets cuffed up. Then he gets out the way. The other one backs up to the tray slot. He gets cuffed up, and then they stand away from the door. The cop will say, ASU cell 195, and then it'll pop open, boom, and it'll go, bah, right? And then whoever has the appointment with medical, then he backs out. He backs out of the cell, and then the CO will grab him, and then they'll say, okay, close 195. And then the guy that's, and you got to get escorted in two COs. And what they'll do is, once they take you, before they take you and walk you off, the one with the appointment, the other one's getting unhandcuffed by the other CO, and the other one will hold your arms from behind. That's how all that works. Same thing when you go to showers, when you got a celly, one backs up to the tray slot first, puts his hands out, they cuff him, right? And then the other one backs up, they cuff him, and then he'll say 190 ASU, cell 195. Boom, you hear it open, right? And then you guys both back out, and then one will grab one arm and one will grab the other arm, and then they'll take you through the hallway. And when they hit the corridor, the middle hallway, they'll say escort. They'll yell that out, escort, letting everybody else know you got somebody coming that way. Because the reason they do that, I've seen a couple times where I've never seen it with my people, is because unless you know the people, you can't just go trying to take off on somebody. You have to know for sure that they're on bad standings. But I've seen guys do it where, and it's basically like a chicken fight, you know, where they're just kicking at each other. You know, they might try to headbutt each other, but your hands are tied behind your back, you know, cuffed. So you can only kick at them. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that happen before a few times. You know what I mean? But I've seen it from white dudes, and then I've seen it from, I don't know if the guys were Bisons or they were Southerners, but it was one or the other. You know what I mean? So I've seen that happen before. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I missed. I think I pretty much covered everything. If you're in the hole, not even if you're in the hole, even if you're on the reception side, and you're considered ADA, which is American Disability Act, they take you to, and especially if you're in the hole, like remember I mentioned the old Jewish guy earlier? So he was in a wheelchair and he had the colostomy bag. They used to take him to his own yard. He would never go to yard with us. They would take him to his own yard where there was dip bars, and it was a pretty big yard, and it wasn't a dog kennel. You know what I mean? Did you ever do that? Do what? Do what? Do it, Roger, do it. That's what you talking about? Did you ever do that? Oh, how you do that? Yeah. East Coast, West Coast. How you do that there? That's what you talking about? 'Cause I know you from Texas. You country boy, right? How you do that there? East Coast, West Coast. How you do that there? Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up. Chick. Oh, no, I never did that. No. Because that's what I was saying. Unless I knew for sure that the guy was considered bad standings, you can't just take it upon yourself. You don't know the guy. You know, if you don't know, like you don't see no identifying tattoos on him, you don't know really what he is. Because, like I said, you know, you're in the hole. Guys shave their heads because they don't have access to getting their normal haircut, so they'll keep it trimmed just to keep it in line. You know, and then you might think it's like what happened with me. They thought I was a Southern Latino because I had my head shaved. So because of that, I never done that again. I would do it with the number one, no less than a number one. You know what I mean? So unless you know the guy's definitely in bad standings, that's the only way you should do that. So like I said, I seen white dudes do it, but they knew the guy personally. They knew him, and I seen some either the Paisas or they were Southsiders. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Those guys were ahead of me in the line. We were going to visit. Big Lou, damn, I'm not a hill. No, I didn't say hillbilly. I said country boy. I didn't say hillbilly, boy. I didn't say hillbilly. I know the difference between a hillbilly and a country boy. Come on now. Come on, Yankees, give me better credit than that, man. You know what I'm saying? I know you can't wait for baseball to start on. Man, I don't know what's going on with them A's, man. But I think I pretty much covered everything when it comes to the Ad-Seg. We used to messages too. They used to have a way to do everything. Or country boy. Oh shit. Well, you ain't from Houston, Dallas, or San Antonio. Or where let me see what. Well, you got some other big cities over there too, huh? El Paso, Austin. Austin's pretty big as well. I think Texas got like because I know Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, they're over 1 million easy each one of them, and then I think El Paso's about 1 million, close to it, and then Austin's got 700,000-800,000, I believe. Texas is big. When they say everything in Texas is bigger, they ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. Houston, you from Houston? You from H-Town, huh? Oh, shit. Damn, my bad. I was thinking something like San Antonio area or something. Anyways, yeah. So, Dusty Conger. What's going on, man? They used to like get information, like pass messages back and forth through the whole. There's different ways of doing it, different facilities through trade through. Well, see, that's why the cops serve the trays, but they used to put it on trays sometimes. Usually, though, it's usually guys that are getting released from the hole, going back out, and they'll take a message with them. That's why I was saying earlier, when you go to the yard, you got to take apart your boxers and use the line, and then at the end of it, you wet it, use it as a weight. You know what I'm saying? And you cross the line with somebody else's line, then you pull it in, and then whatever they got going, you got to take it. There ain't no saying, "Oh no, no, I don't want to do that." You can't deny assisting the household. You know what I mean? No, I didn't know Houston. I was thinking some. I mean, now I kind of remember now, but for some reason I was thinking San Antonio, near San Antonio. I don't know why, but yeah, okay. But now I do remember because I remember asking you if you like the Oilers, and then I asked you if you like the Texans. I remember now. But yeah, it looks like Aaron Judd might be signing with the Giants, huh? Yeah, they call them kites, but we call them Wheelas, or we call them ganas. Ganas means white hair, right? White hair. Like I got all this white hair. I had to cut the beard, man, because that motherfucker was all gray. So they call it canas, which is white hairs slang, and the paper's white rolled up, right? Or huilas. Let's see. Yeah, oh man, I'm a little pissed off. I got a couple of I ordered me a couple beanies, man, and I get the alert that they were delivered. So I stopped at my dad's yesterday real quick, or the day before, and I said, "Hey, did you get those beanies?" And he's like, "Nah." And I'm like, "What?" And then he's like, "Yeah." And I go, so I go to my emails and I go, "Well, look, it says right here." He goes, "Maybe they're on their way. They'll be here tomorrow." I said, "No, no, no." I go, "Look, this is how they show you. They show you that your order was put in, then they see the green line, and then it goes to the next one saying that it's been shipped out. They've been picked up, and then they've been shipped out, and then they've been delivered. And they go the green line will go all the way to the end. And every time it stops at a new one on the line, it'll show you what's going on with it. So that means that somebody, and it's stupid too because it's a gate area, and he lives in the back, so you have to go into the gate and then up the stairs. And what they do is they just put it right there, and it clearly says A on it, right? The apartment in the front is B, and it says our last name, and it says right there with the mailbox A, which is up the stairs. So that they just put it there. One time, yeah, 1 time, 2 time, 5 time, Ilana, Sepa, Umpa, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. Yeah, 1 time, got a 1 time going your way. You say, "I got a 1 time going your way, sir." And then when they get it, they'll say, "Touchdown, sir." 1 time, 1 time, 5 time, 2 time. Because I've sent things to guys where it was like a 5 time. I had 5 different wheelers going to them. So they would answer back, "Touchdown 5 times. You know what I'm saying? Lana Sepa means pool. Pool 1 time. Pool. And then of course you get a little animated with it instead of saying remember that New Edition song? Cool it now? Cool it now. You tell your people, "Pull it now." You tell them with a tear. You know what I mean? Judge will go back home, San Francisco. Yeah. Well, he's more from right here, Stockton. He's from down the street from Stockton. But yeah, I mean, either there or Oakland would be the closest thing going home, except for, if he was playing for the River Cats, you know what I'm saying, or the Modesto Nuts, you know what I mean? So yeah, but I think Pujols is gonna retire, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Aaron Judge. So Aaron Judge's got 2 records. He's got the most home runs hit by a rookie with 52, I think it is. He broke McGuire's record of 49 from 1987, and he's got the most home runs hit by an American leaguer with 62. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. He's got some things under his belt. When you go, well, let me say this too. When you get released out of the hole, they walk you. You still got to cuff up. They walk you out of that wing, right? If it's that DVI, like the thumbnail, that's K-wing, right? They walk you out of the wing and out of the door, and then as soon as you get outside the door, then they take the cuffs off. Same thing with ASU, Administrative Segregation Unit. Same thing. You're cuffed up until you get outside the building or the wing, and then they uncuff you, and then you can walk normal, right? So that's how that works. You know what I'm saying? And usually when those guys get kicked out of the hole, that's when they take whatever messages they got. They got to go out to that yard. You know what I'm saying? Our mail is all messed up. Stuff stolen out of blue postal boxes, found in motel room, running big ID. Yeah, that's fucked up too. And then recently, I figured out that I got and this how it had to happen. So everybody pay attention to this because it's through YouTube. I'm pretty sure because I've heard other content creators putting it on thick to their viewers. Do not. Let me explain first. So what happens is, say and it's usually the bigger shows, not the 3,000 subscribers. It's more like the 20,000 and up. But what happens is they'll message you back with a text something number, with their picture, right? With the channel's picture. And Dubs, if you guys know who Dubs is, Dubs had emphasized, or how would I say that? He was big on this. He told everybody, pay attention. That's not me messaging you back. You know what I'm saying? Don't whatever. So what happens is when you message them back, now they got you, right? And so I had messaged back this channel, and all of a sudden I had a Zelle thing opened up account with a $700. I got a $700 voicemail invoice on my email, and I don't have Zelle. So they were like, "Oh yeah, his name's Jeremy from Ohio." I've never been to Ohio. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anybody in Ohio except for Sticks, right? And so I figured out I got scammed on that, however you want to call that, scammed. So you got to watch out when people from channels message you back and it doesn't seem legit, like where it has a text something. It says a text app or something like that with the number, and they don't have the picture of the content creator, right? It's a no-no. So they'll get you like that. Also, opening up emails, probably even text messages. You got to be careful with all that. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful because once you tap into it, they got you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of scam stuff going on out there. A lot. You know what I mean? Our mail is all missed it. That's another thing too, since you brought up mail. The way the mail runs in the institutions, right? Especially in the reception center, Tracy, San Quentin, the mail is backed up like 3 weeks, right? And then being in the whole, you know, you're not even priority. You know what I'm saying? They'll get the mail to you when they get it to you. But then I remember coming back years later, not a whole lot of years later, but maybe 3 years later, 4 years later, and the mail was running normal, like 4 days, 3 days. You know what I mean? So that was cool. But then I came back again, and it was back to that 2-week shit. You know what I mean? But and then the way, I didn't explain this. Your property, when you buy shampoo, toothpaste, let's see, shampoo, toothpaste, lotion, deodorant, body wash, any of that stuff is taken out of the containers and the bottles and put in cups. And they give you cups. You know, a lot of times those cups turn into, you know, they get real wet and you know, from being moist with the shampoo or whatever in it, and they end up, you know, leaking through. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be aware of that. And when they do not property, but they call it supplies, they go around like on a Saturday or Sunday, and they give you your envelopes. They'll give you your pin fillers, just the inside of the pin. They'll give you what else they give you? Oh, tooth powder. They give you. They might do laundry too with that. I'm trying to think what else they give you. That's pretty much it. Envelopes, pins, paper. Oh, and the cups. So you have to ask. Got to pay attention, and that's where you also get your cups to drink. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you tell them, hey, I need a couple extra cups for my hygiene. So then they'll give you extra cups, and you can put either the cup you have the hygiene inside that one, or you could try to pour it out into it. But that fucking sucks. So the deodorant they put, like, cause I like gel deodorant, so they'll just keep twisting it until it all falls as much as they can into the cup. Same thing with the toothpaste. Let me see. It's toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, lotion, body wash. What else? That's pretty much it. And then the same thing with your coffee. They take your coffee out of the jars and they put it in a brown paper bag. Same thing with your anything that's hard plastic. I'm trying to think what else they might do that with. Anything with a pouch, like a bag, like chip bags and pouches, they don't mess with that. That's what I understand. I forgot to say earlier was that your chip bags, save your chip bags because you end up using them to bust the spread and, you know, make your little mixture, your little concoction of food, and then you could just rip it open. Or what I would do until I got another bag, until I went through another bag of chips, I would wash that bag out, and
That was pretty much my bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I'd have it like that, you know, where I'd hold the top, or I'd take me off some off my sock. I'd make a string, you know what I mean, and I would tie it. That way it's closed, and that way the steam stays inside there. You know, it really doesn't get too steamy because you're just using a little hot water off the sink, which it didn't get that hot. But the cell that I was in 143. It had the newer lights. You push it 2 times and it goes dim, dim. Let me see, 3 cells over, my homeboy from Stockton, he had the old cell with the light bulb, and he had a stinger, so he would heat water up for me. So I'd fish down to him on my fishing line, and he would tie on the water, and then he would send it to me, so I would have the hot water. That's how I would cook my soup with my spread, with my beans and all that shit. And I would tie the top of the bag with the line off my sock, right? And then I would fold it once it was, once it blew up and cooked and blew up, I would fold it down and then use it as a bowl. You know what I'm saying? And then I would wash it with the water, and I would clean it, wipe it out with toilet paper, my toilet paper, and I would use that until I emptied out another bag. You know what I'm saying? And once I would empty out another bag, then I would either throw that one away or else. It just depends. You know what I mean? Because you would try to ration out your chips and all. You wouldn't try to just run right through them. You know what I mean? Anybody that does that is not too smart. You know what I mean? You gotta rationalize your stuff. You know what I mean? Because you don't know when, it is what it is. You might not know when you're gonna get more money, and that's another thing. You could only go at that time, you could only go to the store $45 a month in the hole. Now it's $55. So it's $55 in the hole, or if you're on C status, that's a disciplinary, you're on disciplinary action, you go $55 a month. Reception center, you go $110, and then the main line, when you get your blues, and that's where you're going to do your time at, you can go $220 a month. So if you're going $220 a month, that's a lot of money. You're probably hardly never going to Chow. You know what I mean? I used to go every month. I would go 100, 120 a month, and I would still go to all the Chows because, like I said, it's mandatory. But there's guys that have money that don't go to Chow because it's not mandatory within their group segment. That they wouldn't go to Chow, you know what I mean? They were like others most of the time. But us, we had to go. So I would still go, and if I wasn't going to eat, then I'd give it away. But even going $100 a month, $120 a month, you get a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of food, definitely, let's see. And then again, with the food, the food was, it wasn't always that good. Really, like the only things I would really want to eat would be like hot link chicken on the bone, hot links, maybe what else? Well, hamburgers sometimes with the cheese on it. There's a few other dishes I just can't think of them right now. Oh, like Mexican Day, you get a good amount of beans, good amount of rice. They give you cheese, they give you lettuce, they give you chopped up tomatoes. You know what I mean? They give you a couple tortillas on the tray. Those days, and it was filling those days. You know what I mean? You can actually get a full stomach. You know what I mean? Most of the time, because now they don't feed nothing. Nothing is solid now in there. Everything's slop. You get a lot of chicken tetrazzini, chicken a la king, chicken this, chicken that. Tuna casserole, chicken casserole, goulash. None of it's solid. Let's see. Hit that like button, peoples, if you haven't already. And Ad-Seg, like right there in DBI, like I had mentioned a little earlier,
the trays they give you. Let me see if I can show you guys how big the trays is. It's so damn small. It's crazy. I mean, the trays are literally right. They're literally like, damn, it's not even, they're like probably, I would say 4 inches by maybe 3 inches. 4 inches by 3 inches, and it's literally 2 little slots, like for like mashed potatoes or corn, or carrots or whatever, and then the other spot is for like the main course, like whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't get much at all. That's in the hole. But at one, like that was something new, because for the most part they would always give this regular trays. But I've been to other holes where you get the regular size trays, and the cops are serving the food, right? And so what happens is, you can, like I had mentioned earlier, you can smell the food as soon as it enters in the building of the Ad-Seg, right? Because this prison I was at was called ASU, Administrative Segregation Unit, and they were made like the shoe, kind of like the wall, the hallway kind of went to the angle, and that way when you're at your door, you can't see nothing. All you can see is a white wall, and then the beds were, if you're looking in the window, the beds are against the wall sideways. Instead of being this way, they were this way. And you, like I said, you could smell the food when they came in. And there was a couple times where we showered after the food came into the building. Only came into the building, so they were in the pots. The pots that they get. And let me say it so everybody understands. So in every prison, they have a main kitchen where they cook the food at. Okay. That might be, the main kitchen might not even be on any of the yards. It might be behind the fence, right? And what happens is they cook back there, and then they send it to each yard. And so when it goes to each yard, it goes in pots, and it's already cooked. All they do over there in the other yards is, if they have to, they might reheat it, but for the most part, they're servers. Okay, so in this case, the cops are the servers, so it comes in the pots. But the food, you can still smell it. So when the pots come into the Ad-Seg, the cops are the ones that do the serving. So a lot of times they don't give a shit on the amounts they give you, and sometimes you get a lot. You know what I mean? More than normal. And then sometimes it might not be that much. You know what I mean? But they always play games, right? They fucking, they play games, because I remember when I first got to this one hole one time, they gave you, when it came to be laundry, right? So you got your set of boxers, your socks, and your T-shirt. They gave you that in R&R, and then you put the jumpsuit over. It was a paper suit that we came from DVI in, Tracy, and then when we got to there, we kept it on, and we got to our cell, then we gave it to them, and they gave us this white suit, this milkman suit. Okay, so when it comes time for me to do laundry, for us to get laundry now, we're fish. Fish means you just got there. We haven't been given laundry yet. And so these assholes are going around with this little push cart, and he's fucking giving us laundry. And then at the time, I'm like 260, 270, 260 pounds, 270 pounds, and I'm a little sucked up, right? Because I'm just coming from running on the streets. I took my deal and got through DVI within 32 days, and was in this prison within 32 days. So I'm still fucking feeling the aftermath of running amok on the street, right? And so I'm still not sleeping well and that type of shit. I'm still not eating well. And so, but I'm still like 260, 270, right? So when he comes by, I'm like, what? They're like going to give me laundry, and I'm like, let me get, I tell him my sizes. He keeps handing me this small shit. I mean, everything's small. And I'm like, come on, man, how am I going to fit that shit? I mean, everything was like large, extra large. And I need at least, really, because it goes large, extra large, 2X, then 4X. Every now and then you'll see some 3X boxers, but it usually goes 2X to 4X. And I'm like, I need at least fucking, 3X. Well, I wasn't aware that it was hard to get 3Xs now. So anyways, he ends up telling me like this, all right, last call, whatever I grab you, that's what you're going to get. He fucking he goes in there and grabs a pair of larges, and he throws them at me. I said, come on, man, are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? I don't know how I ended up getting my size. I think a homeboy ended up shooting me a pair that his cellie left behind, because he transferred to another pen, and I just watched him. And it was fucked up for a while, because I only had one pair of boxers, and they gave me a pair of thermal bottoms. So when I washed my boxers, I would have the thermal bottoms on, and they were like skin tight motherfuckers. It was fucked up, man. I ain't gonna lie. And then I didn't even tell you this part. Whoever was in that cell before me was on management status, right? So he must have been giving them a lot of problems. And what that means is they take away your mattress,
A lot of times they take away your blankets and all that too. But all I had in there was an egg crate. You know, the styrofoam, not styrofoam, but it's like a foam, like a sponge type material. That's all I had to lay on. That's it. You know what I mean? And I'm on top of concrete. You know, but me being who I was, as far as what I mean by that is the group segment I ran with, I didn't ever say, hey, man, where's some of my mattress? I just rolled with it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, can you trade your food for anything else to other inmates? Yeah, you can. You can, but you can't. You can, but it's got to be. It's got to be one of your homies. If it's something open off your tray, it's got to be one of your homies or a black dude or an Asian dude. If you're from up north, if you're from down south, you can trade with whites and Native Americans and paisas. Anytime the two sides, anytime a white, okay, put it this way, anytime a Northern Latino, a black, or an Asian Islander do business with a Southerner, white, paisa, or Native American, it has to be sealed food. It can't be nothing open when you're doing business like that. Yeah, you can't take some off my, like a white dude can't take some off my tray, or a Southern Latino can't take some off my tray, and just like I can't their tray. But now things are different in there now. Now you got North and South, they're like bed buddies. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. Hey, yeah. What's going on, my Shih Tzu princess? Oh, fuck, that sounds funny. Rich DM 650. Send mine, Big Lou, and everyone in the chat. Have a blessed day. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. And also, if anybody got any needs for any type of event they got going on, if it's a wedding, a quinceañera, a sweet 16, any type of sale, any type of get together event, you know, like car, anything, maybe car club, bike club, any type of chess club, you know, anything like that. Get with Rich DM 650, and you got a digital marketing business. Where they'll hook you up with some clean ass flyers and stuff. JM 650. I mean JMSJ. Yeah. So one thing that you should do is after you come back from Chow in the morning, you have guys in the reception center. They say, I got bologna on the line. I got bologna on the line for Friday. Or excuse me, wait a minute. I got bologna on the line for a pack of peanut butter. Where you at? And then you'll hear somebody say, right here, cell 220, lock that in. And then the guy that originally said, I got the bologna for the peanut butter. Where you at? You say, all right, lock that in. I'm in cell whatever, 310. You know what I mean? That's how that goes. And then they'll get a runner, and then the runner will go grab the stuff and bring it back. All that stuff sealed, so it doesn't matter what nationality they are. The peanut butter packs are sealed. The bolognas are sealed. You know what I mean? You might have somebody that says, I got two hard-boiled eggs on the line for a soup. Where you at? And then you hear somebody, right here, cell 102. Lock that in. All right, cell 102. I'm in cell 214. Lock it in. You know what I mean? That's how that happens. Guys will have candy wheels. They'll make candy wheels. And what that is basically your cookies from your lunch. And then they'll caramelize the syrup. You know, they'll be cooking in their cell. Well, they'll use the milk cartons and heat them up. Like they might put they use a can actually. They cut the top off the can, and then they start a little fire in there, right? And they'll use that to cook on the bunk. And they'll use it, and they'll caramelize the syrup, and they'll use that on the cookies, along with whatever ingredients, peanut butter, jelly. They got all kinds of different things you can put in it. But that's a big major hustle in the reception center. Grilled cheese sandwiches. What else they got? They'll make pies. Like guys that work in the kitchen, they'll scrape the cake pan, and they'll get all that gooey stuff from the bottom, and then they'll mix it with peanut butter and they'll hook it up. They'll be better than balls. They'll be like little squares, and they might sell them for
soup or a stamp, or 2 soups and 2 stamps, or 1 stamp, 1 soup. You know what I mean? But there's all kinds of hustles in prison, man. The only thing I don't like about reception center is that your book of stamps that cost your family $10, you only get in Tracy, you get $3.50 for it. In San Quentin reception, you got $3 for it. Once you get to the main line where you're gonna do your time and you wear blues, you get $6 for it. So I mean, either way, I mean, I'd rather get 6 than 3, but my people pay 10. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get either a jar of coffee or a case of soups for a book of stamps. Or what I used to do was I used to get a jar of coffee for 1 book. I'd get a case of soup for another book, and then the 3rd book I would get beans and chips. And I survived, man. My last prison term like that. I bought my TV with 3 books of stamps. That was $18. It was the bubble TVs. I didn't have a flat screen. I bought my little radio, and I bought my earbuds, and I also bought a hot pot that boiled. A celly that I had did a favor for me because we heard they were going to shake down the cells, and this one boiled, and he had another one, and they both had his name on it. So he gave me one, and he hardly charged me anything for it. And what I mean by that was I had like this thing. It was black beans, which people used to use that to get in the gambling table with. They would use it for money, but you couldn't get rid of it to nobody. Nobody wanted it. So he ended up being cool with me, saying, okay, give me the black beans and $2 and take the hot pot. So I got it like that, and I gave him $2 worth of soups, 8 soups. And then I got my own extension cord, and a friend of mine that I grew up with gave me the batteries and the battery charger when he left. You know what I mean? And then I started getting these containers. You know, and I have my own clippers, and I started getting these containers. They're like little totes, clear, see-through ones that people would get, you know, put underneath their bed. They put their clothes in there or whatever. I had me 3 of them. I was getting these from homeboys that were going home. They would give it to me. And so when I was going home, before I was going home, I locked in a deal with my old celly to cut my hair twice a week because I used to cut it once a week with the razor. But then I ended up saying, you know what? Instead of using the razor, I'm just going to have him cut it with the clippers, but do it twice a week. And I'm going to tell him, look, I'll give you the hot pot. I'll give you the clear box because you couldn't get them no more. You know, the hot pot was rigged where the water would boil. That was, if you just buy the hot pot, what it would do was it would take like 10 minutes for the water to get really hot, but it wouldn't boil. And so we rigged this one, and this one boiled. You know what I'm saying? So I told him I'd give him that hot pot, and I'd give him one of the clear boxes. And then another lifer I gave my fan to, and I gave him another box, you know. And then I gave them, between the two, I gave them battery chargers, and I gave them extension cords and extra shoes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I try to do what I could do. You know what I mean? For holidays, you get the turkey. He said, okay, Yankees, I just did a video yesterday. So I did 2 boxing videos yesterday. One got Errol Spence and Crawford on it. The other one has Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia on it. And then the one before that, you'll see a tray with food on it. And that was the holiday. I run down how the holiday was on it. So I don't know if I want to tell you right now because then you won't go back and watch it. But no, so you'll get a turkey slab and a ham slab. Now, I've been in some prisons where you just get a turkey slab or you'll get the ham slab. I've been in some prisons where you get both. Okay, then they'll give you like a cranberry sauce. They'll give you some corn. You might have potato salad on there, and then some stuffing type deal. And then what they usually do is the bakery, if you're at one of the pens that have a bakery, they'll usually hook it up with a special dessert. And the last time that I can remember, the dessert they gave us was this type of pumpkin. It was this type of pumpkin cake that had like a, I'm trying to think what to call that. It had like this cream in it, like, you know, layers, like, you know, it had like layers. It wasn't custard. It wasn't pudding type stuff, and it wasn't really cream, but it was like man, I don't know what you would call that, but it was good though, right? The bakery hooked that up. The bakery hooked that up. And then I've been other times where like so we get special meals for 4th of July, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So like for the 4th of July, they'll give you hamburger, hot dog, you get a piece of watermelon, you'll get potato salad, you might get macaroni salad too. They give you some corn, and then you'll get like, like if you go to Jack in the Box or Burger King, they got those little pies, like hers, like a Reese's, the Reese's peanut butter, or what they call that, the Reese's cup pie, and then they got the Hershey pie. They'll give you those. They got something with Burger King and all that, so they'll get some of those shipped in there. And then sometimes they'll give you the eclairs, with the cream filling, with the chocolate. We'll get those in there. A lot of times we'll get ices, like not ices, but popsicles. You know what I mean? But usually, and that's only for 4th of July with those type of desserts. But when it comes to Christmas and New Year's, Christmas and Thanksgiving, the bakery will hook up something special. You know what I mean? There you go. Yep, right there. Dr. Phil loves pumpkin cake. Pumpkin roll, yeah, it was something like a pumpkin spice roll or something. There you go. Yeah, that was pretty good. Everybody went ape shit for those. A lot of guys were buying them from people, and they were willing to pay $2, $3 a piece. Me on the other hand, I didn't need no money, so I enjoyed my little cake. You know what I'm saying? But I would say between Thanksgiving and Christmas, Thanksgiving meal is probably better than the Christmas meal, because everybody eats turkey for Thanksgiving, but not everybody eats turkey and stuff like that for Christmas. You know what I mean? My family, we eat both. We eat turkey and ham for both. You know what I mean? But then there's extra stuff we eat too. You know what I mean? A lot of families don't eat turkey on Christmas. Depending. Like I heard this dude today, Showbiz from that boxing channel. He was talking about he had spaghetti, and this is a black dude, and he was talking about he had spaghetti and a couple other dishes. He said for Thanksgiving. I'm like, damn, that ain't even Thanksgiving meals. But anyways, it is what it is, player. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's and I also touched bases. I got a message. Somebody watched. Actually, I don't even know if he watched any of my videos, but he commented on the Tank Davis, Javante Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia post that I put in my community page. And he answered me back, and I hit him up. And I've hit him up before about coming on, but yesterday he actually gave me an answer. And he said, yeah, I'll come on, but he wants to talk boxing, which is cool with me, right? And you guys might not know who he is. He does come from that life of quote unquote mob. But it wasn't him. It was his father. His father was a member. And he just was a kid at the time that, didn't really understand what was going on. You know what I mean? I want to say he was probably like a teenager. I think now he's about 34 years old. I think maybe 30 to 34 now. And back when this happened with his father, this was what was this, like 18, 20 years ago? So yeah, he was a teenager. And so I want to talk to him, how things were as a kid. On his mother's side, he's related to some big, big, heavy hitters in that life, right? From Brooklyn. We might not even talk about that. He just might be a guest about boxing. I don't know. But he already told me yes, he'll come on. So I'm not going to say who it is until, I'm just going to say special guest. And when we put the date together, when he's going to come on, I'll post it. And then you guys will just have to tap in and find out who it is. You guys might be able to figure it out what I said already. I don't know. But he's a young man that's now a father, and he did get some backlash because of his dad and stuff like that. As far as those type of people that talk shit under their breath. That they always exist. And also his uncle. His uncle went bad too. So You know, he had you know how that goes. Like when things happen, you know, people in the neighborhood will, you know, don't mess with him, don't talk to him, that type of stuff. Even though he didn't have nothing to do with what happened, you know what I mean? But he's bounced back from all that. He's a good dad. He's a good husband. From my understanding, he's a husband as well. He takes care of his kid. He got a good job. You know what I'm saying? He didn't fall in that same lifestyle. So I'm looking forward to having him on, talking some boxing and stuff like that. And then maybe after we have a boxing of a stream on boxing, maybe he'll come on and tell a little bit about a story. You know what I mean? I will be back. I have to buy a TV. I just bought a TV yesterday. I bought a 55-inch for $20. Yep, and I bought something else that's real nice. And I'm not going to say what it is here. Catch my drip? Huh? Everyone have a blessed day. Always move forward in life. Yes, sir. Likewise, JMSJ, Shark Stedo, and La Casa, Sanjo Neto. You feel me? Yes, sir. So has anybody got any questions or anything they want to ask or anything? You want to, anything. It don't matter. Even if you don't want to ask, you want to just say something. Anybody want to come on? I dropped the link. Or I dropped the link now anyways. You know, you could just, somebody could just grab it. If they want to come on, just grab the link. There's the link. Anybody want to grab it? Come on with it. You feel me? Hey, I don't know. Did you guys see that little thing I posted on? It was a short. It was the two the horses in the buggy or the horses in the carriage. I don't know even what to call them. Anyways, I dropped those, and I shit you not, in a few hours, maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, I had like 1,700 views. Right now, it's like over 2,000. And it surprised the shit out of me. I didn't think I would have got that many just from that. You know what I mean? But you'll be surprised. Well, the link's there if anybody wants to tap in. Yeah, but I'm glad that you know, I'm not stuck in that web no more, the prison system. I wasted a lot of years of my life in there. You know, to be so educated as I am as far as inside, like, you know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff I'm spitting to you guys, like it's just part of me, you know, it's all right there. You know what I'm saying? I like, you know, the procedures on things and the papers, like the certain paperwork in there, like what I mean by that is like the papers you got to fill out to get this done or that done, and the procedures and this and that, and you know, it's like it's part of me. It's gonna be part of me forever until I become either have dementia or Alzheimer's, right? But I'm just glad that I'm no longer stuck in any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? As far as actually being inside, I ran into a homeboy yesterday. Well, I didn't run into him. I think I seen him on Facebook and I hit him up. Yeah, did you see that? The horse and buggy? Did you see it on the short? If you go back to my channel, I think on 2 days ago I posted it's 4 horses total, but it's 2 horses and then they're pulling people with, you know, seats. I guess that's called a horse and buggy. But anyways, I got like over 2,000 views on it, and I mean that's not a lot of views if you really look at it. But my channel's not that big. I only have 325. What I have 330 subscribers, and you figure a lot of them, you know, I probably got about maybe 100 people subscribers that watch the videos, you know, give or take different videos. I was just surprised that I got so many views off that. You know what I mean? What was I going before I said that? I don't remember now. But yeah, basically I was saying that, you know, I'm glad that I'm not stuck in that rut no more, you know, wasting all those years in there. You know what I mean? Being away from my kids all those years, and the stupidity and the craziness that the lifestyle that I was living that led me to go to prison, high-speed chases. And, you know, I got to do a video on that too, the high-speed chase that I was in the last time I went to prison. that was crazy. I mean, what I did, I mean, I went on, the little islands, in the middle to separate this side from that side. I drove over the island and I was going at traffic. You know what I mean? I jumped on the freeway and the motorcycle cop was behind me and I rode the shoulder the whole way. You know what I mean? And I ended up wrecking, you know what I'm saying? And thank God I didn't even get hurt. Only thing that happened was I busted my elbow. I didn't break it. What I mean busted was it was bleeding. So when I spun the car, I must have hit my elbow or something. It was bleeding a little bit, but I didn't have no pain there or nothing. You know what I mean? Could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean? Way worse than what it ended up being. And I'm just glad I ain't no longer stuck in that rut. Always being on parole, always looking over your shoulder because you're doing dirt. You know what I mean? And you're hustling to make money and put money in your pocket. And, you know what I mean? All that stuff. Is what it is. But yeah, I forgot where I was saying something a minute ago and I forgot. I dropped the link and then I read Shannon's horse and buggy with the question mark and it threw me off. Now I forgot what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, the only thing about me being, highly educated when it comes to prison stuff is that, you know what to do, you know what to expect when you go in there. You know what I mean? I was schooled at a very young age by my mom's cousins. And I'm only saying that now because they're my mom's first cousins, so they're my second cousins, but we never would say like, oh, this is Anthony and Jimmy, my second cousins. We didn't never say that. They're just cousins, my cousin Anthony and Jimmy. But I'm just saying it so you guys can understand, the difference in the age. They had me by 20-some years. You know what I mean? They're my mom's, out of my mom. So earlier you guys heard me say that my grandmother had 8 or 10 brothers and sisters from her father's first relationship, and then another 17, 18 kids from my great grandmother, which is my grandma's mother. And a couple of them died at birth, you know what I mean? So I think they finished with 17 living kids. But my mom, so these cousins that schooled me were like the last of the cousins. You know what I mean? They were towards the bottom. There was that was Auntie Janie's kids: Anthony, Jimmy, Lisa, Frankie, and Steven. Steven's the only one alive. All 4 of the other ones died. And then Uncle Ronnie had some kids, Little Ronnie and Debbie, and Little Ronnie just passed away. And then there was another brother that my grandma had, Bobby, and it's my grandma's little brother, but he wasn't raised as my grandma's little brother. He was raised as my grandma's. Wait a minute. He was my grandma's little brother, but my great grandmother, which was my grandma's mother, gave him to one of her daughters that couldn't have kids. So this is my great grandmother's last kid. His name was Roberto Hernandez. And my great grandmother gave him to one of her daughters that couldn't have kids. So he really was my grandmother's baby brother, but he was raised as my grandma's nephew. So put it this way, he was my mom's uncle. They were the same age though, but he was raised as my mom's cousin because he was raised by his sister instead of his mother, and she was old when she had him. You know what I mean? So, anyways, and then there's cousins, and then my mom has a cousin. She's the very oldest cousin, but they call her auntie. They call her tia instead of cousin, but it's really my mom's cousin. But she's the very oldest out of all the cousins, and she's older than a couple of her uncles and aunts, the ones I just named, Ronnie, Bobby, and that's the way Puerto Ricans do it. You know what I'm saying? What comes first, the horse or buggy? What kind of like the chicken and the egg? I don't know, Dr. Phil. You're the one with all the brains. You tell us. How about them apples? Yeah, me too. Thanks. Because it's. I got a friend in there. So I got a cousin in there. So there's 3 people that I communicate with that are in the system. I got a cousin. He's been down 16 or 17 years. They gave him 31. They offered this man fucking 9 years or 10 years. He didn't take it. Now, you know what? Thing is, he allegedly did it, right? But the thing was, okay, this is what happened. He was in a bullpen going to court, and the deputies were bringing guys into the bullpen to go into whatever tank they were going into to go to whatever courthouse they were going to go to. This cat ends up coming down the corridor, and he happens to look to the. I don't know what bullpen he was in, so I don't know if he looked to the right or the left, but he sees my cousin in there, and right away he turns to the deputy because I seen some guys that were there. I talked to some guys that were there with my cousin in the tank when this happened, and as soon as he sees my cousin, they make eye contact. He turns right to the deputy, tells the deputy something, and what it was they end up arresting my cousin for kidnap robbery, right? That they said allegedly he put him in the trunk because he owed him some money and he robbed him, right? So they offered my cousin like 9 years or 10 years. He decides not to take it, takes it to trial, loses. The judge gives him 31 years. Yeah, I bought a 55-inch yesterday for $20. Yep. A friend of mine, that's what I was saying, a story. A friend of mine that I know really well, and we've been through some battles together in the pen. He's from my area, not the same county, but the same kind of area, neighboring county. I never seen him in person after we were together in prison because I think he got out when that time we were together. He got out first and came back before I got out, or it might have been the other way around. But then when the last time we communicate with each other, he caught some cases where he's already fought 3 strikes twice now. And he got lucky the last time because he ended up, they got him for like a domestic violence or something, which he didn't do. It was on with his sister. I'm not sure exactly the details of that, but he was saying that he didn't want to take that deal because he would get visits in there or nothing like that. So he tells him, look, take that shit off, and I'm willing to take a 12 years, 8 months deal right now. So they went for it. And what happened was when he went to prison, the records office goes over all your stuff. And what happened was they found out that county illegally sentenced him. And I believe him because they did the same shit to me, because that last case I caught when I went on a high-speed chase was from that same county, right? And they did the same thing to me. But the thing was is that they didn't fix the paperwork. They didn't amend the charges on one of the papers, and that's why they were saying that, oh, they can't sentence you to this amount of time because this is the charge. But they were right, and then they were wrong, because what happened was originally I got arrested for a 245C, which is assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. And then what ended up happening was the district attorney amended the charge and dropped it down to a 245A1, which is, instead of it being assault with a deadly weapon on a cop, which is C, it's just assault with a deadly weapon. Okay, so put it this way. Originally I got assault with a deadly weapon on Sergeant Holman. And after they amended the charges, it was just assault with a deadly weapon on Russell Holman. So it went from being assault with a deadly weapon on a cop to assault with a deadly weapon on like a civilian. You know what I mean? Because they took the cop title out of his name, Sergeant, right? Okay, so, and what happened was some of the paperwork they didn't fix that part of it, which was the amendment, because they dropped the charge from a 245C to a 245A1, right? So that's what I meant by they were wrong and they were right. So yeah, he said, so when, and this happens with everybody. Once you get to the prison you're going to do your time at, it might not be the reception center, but when you get to the main line, the records people go over your court records. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to punch in your stuff, you know, in the computer. That way, when your counselor brings you to committee, they have the right information on there. And so that's when they caught it. And then two, also on top of that, they came out with, I'm trying to remember the name of it. They came out with this thing where, because California was giving, like what I just told you with my cousin, they offered him 9 or 10 years, and he ended up getting 31 after losing in trial. Okay, so they came out with this thing where before they start doubling you up and giving you prison priors and different things, which are called enhancements, they came out with this thing. I know it got passed in 2016 presidential election. It also was on the ballot. And basically what it was it was saying, I think it was called Prop 47 or Prop 46 or something like that. And basically what it was saying was you don't have to be just a lifer no more to go to board, the parole board. But the way they were doing it is that your paperwork, your C file will go to the board. You didn't have to go sit in front of a board like a lifer does when he's trying to make, when he's trying to be found suitable for a parole date. And so what happens is your C file will go up to Sacramento, and they'll have some people that will review it, and they'll look at your aggravated factors, which are your stuff that you like, write-ups, stuff that you messed up on, and then they'll look at your mitigated factors, which are the good things you've done, like programs you took in there and got certificates, maybe your GED, NAAA, Celebrate Recovery. They got all kinds of different programs like anger management, critical thinking. They got substance abuse programs. They got different ones too. They got one called Gang Members Anonymous, called CGA. No wait, CGA. Yeah, Criminal Gang Members Anonymous. They got another one called GOGI. They got another one. They got all kinds of different ones. So every time you complete something like that, you get a certificate. Every time you do better on a test, you're eligible to get a week or two knocked off your date. So all that stuff goes in your file as mitigated factors. And so what they do is they compare the mitigated factors against the aggravated factors, and then they determine, yes, you deserve to get out on your original base term. So say your base term is, okay, let me give you an example. So I got a strike my last term. I got a strike in my last term. So what that means now is that anytime I go back, even if it's just like say I get busted for a commercial burglary, right, which carries 16 months, 2 years, and 3 years, right? 16 months low term, 2 years midterm, 3 years high term. So what they'll do is they'll give me the midterm 2 years because I have a strike. They double it automatically to 4 now, and say they want to give me 1 year for each prison prior that I have, but they only want to charge me with 2. So that's 2 more. I got 5 prison priors. I've been to prison 5 times for 5 different terms, right? Not violations, but terms, what they call bids back east. So what they'll do is they'll count 2 of them, 1 year each. So now for me, instead of me just doing the 2 years with half, now I'm doing 2, double up to 4, plus 2 prison priors, which is 6 years now. And it's not halftime. Now it turns into 80%. Okay, so when they say the base term, your base term is 2. That's what they started with, was 2. So you can get out 2 years, and it turns into 66%. So you'll do like 2 years is what, 24 months? So 66% of that is 18 months, right? I believe it's 18 months. Yeah, 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24. So yeah, you'll do 16 months. So you're eligible to get out within 16 months. That's basically what that means. You know what I mean? Because they started getting way carried away with all these prison, all the freaking prison, the prison terms, the strikes, and all that. And then also too, the bail, in 2016, also the year that Trump got elected, when I told you this Prop 46 or 47 was passed, they also abolished the bail here in California. Okay. So what happened was, by 2018, it was put back on the ballot, and now it was passed to reinstate it. What happened was these bail bondmen went around the state of California, and they got over, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got over 400,000 signatures to put it back on the ballot, because this is big business in California. Right? So what happens is this: you get picked up on a case, it might be 59,000 bail, like say a possession of cells, 59,000, right? But now, if you have a prison prior, it's $10,000 for every prison prior. So I have 5, so that's 50,000 now. So add the 50 on top of the original 59,000, and then it's 20,000 per strike. So I got a strike. So that's add another 20,000 on there. So now you're talking about $119,000, or what would that be? $129,000 when it should have when it originally was 59,000. So they get carried away with this shit, right? So I've had bails before for 200,000, 100,000, but it was all nonviolent cases, and the jail ended up kicking me out, right? Because, like I said, nonviolent, they're overcrowded. So I went in there one time with a co-defendant. His bail, my bail was 100 G's. His was 49,000. We both ended up getting kicked out together the next day after we went to court, the next night. And then the next morning we had court. So we ended up having to get to court. And then I ended up going right into a program after court that day. And then I ended up leaving the program and getting picked up again. And this time they had the case before on this one too, and then some other ones, and my bail was 200 grand. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm never getting out now. And they popped my door one day. I just get a cellie. One cellie went home after court that day. I'm in there by myself for a while, and they send this other guy in there. And then the door pops after about maybe an hour or two. I don't know exactly. And they yell out a last name, which ain't my last name. And I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, nah. And then he goes, so then I tell him my last name, and then he yells it back at him. And they're like, oh, yeah, we messed up. So then they tell me, pack my shit. You're being released. And I'm like, what the fuck? I literally ran out that motherfucker. As soon as I got up to the front where I put my clothes on, I'm thinking they're going to come get me, thinking they made a mistake. Just like in Illinois, New York. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know, because I see some of the programs when it comes to New York, and they talk about the bail in New York. It doesn't sound like it's as high, nowhere near like California. But, I could be wrong. I don't know about Illinois, but California definitely big business. These guys over here, like that Leonard Padilla, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He brought his sons. He's a bounty hunter, right, supposedly. And he also does bail bonds. And then he brought all his sons into the business. And his sons own, like, literally 10 different locations within the Sacramento area. You know what I mean? And they make big money. Big money, but it's just out of hand. It's crazy though how they do it. So, anyways, what I was saying about my boy, he tells me about something that he has and I want it, right? So he ends up coming out to where I live, and he tells me, hey, I just bought this for 30. He bought the TV for $30, and so he's like telling me to give him the 30, and I'm like. He's like, give me the 30. I said, you got change? He's like, no. I said, well, this is all I got on me. I need the change, right? I need the $10 change back. It's all I have on me. And he's like, no. So I just gave him the 20. I gave him a 20. And then he's like, oh, we'll just figure it out another time. So I got it either for 20 or 30. 55-inch though. Works good. That'll probably go up in the garage. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tap out on this one. New purge law. What? We all must hold Buffalo Billy accountable for her behavior. Buffalo Billy accountable for her behavior. A new purge law, huh? You're talking about like when you're allowed on a certain day or certain hours to go out there and kill people? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure. Sakura? Orale, just chilling, eh? Where's the party at tonight in Sakura, OG? It's Friday. I don't know, bro. I'm in Stockton, eh? Orale. I mean, you're just tapping in. I've been here for over 2 hours. Captain Mauser, yowza. No, but I just went over the whole thing about being in the oil. Everything that has to do with the oil, being in the oil. Chow's, supplies, the way your store comes, the visits, the way you go to yard, the way you shave, the way you get the clippers, everything about the whole. Google it. Google it. Google it. Yeah, Google it, huh? Yeah. Yeah. gonna go ahead and tap on out. I've been on for 2 hours and 10 minutes. As you can see, the sun's right in my face now. The sun's starting to come down, and it's right in my eyes. I appreciate everybody that's tapped in, though. Shannon, Just Chilling, Dr. Phil, Yankees for Life, Mondo Castillo, Team Hennessy, Marky Mark, Chepe, Sea Dog and Cooper Show, Sean Welling, Joey Melrose, Richard Dowling, Dirty 30, 530, Big Weddle Duran, TX Royal Flowers, Agnostic One, JMSJ, Stay Awake TV. I think that's pretty much it. Yankees, I said Yankees, right? Dusty Conger, Rich DM 650, Bella, my Shih Tzu princess. Yep, that's it. All right. I have a homie in the hole, bro. He been there for like almost a year. Can't even FaceTime the homie no more. Yeah. Good spill, Big Lou. Thanks. Yeah, thank you for tapping in. That's the name people refer to it as. Yeah. That's how it's gonna be, bro. You know what I mean? There ain't no, even if you were able to get your phone in there somehow, there ain't no plugs to charge it. So, you know what I mean? As soon as it goes dead, that's it. You know. But I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and tap on out. I appreciate everybody that's gonna come later on and catch the watch the live stream after it's uploaded by YouTube. And with that being said, everybody have a blessed, positive, and productive remainder of your Friday and also your weekend. And remember, like I always say, everybody, be responsible. Don't drink and drive. You know, have the designated driver, in place. Call an Uber, call a taxi. Walk if you have to. It's always better to catch a drunken public than a freaking vehicle or manslaughter. You know what I'm saying? Hurting somebody, or you're, killing yourself or somebody else, or hurting yourself very badly or somebody else, it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not worth it. So with that being said, Big Lou, tapping on out.